I don't want to get involved in that at all.
Now, that was the scene yesterday evening outside of Congressman Russ Carnahan's town hall event in St. Louis, Missouri. Joining me now to discuss that incident and all the outrage that Americans across the country are now voicing about the Democrats and Obama's health care bill. California Congressman Brian Bilbray, who's from this area, right, Congressman?
Born and raised.
Want to say hi to you, Congressman? There you go. You born and raised right here?
Actually, my mother was an Australian immigrant, and I was born at North Island Naval Air Station because she was concerned about my citizenship, so she locked it in.
Now, Congressman, you ever been to a town hall where people ask you questions, people are confrontational, people are speaking out against maybe something that you support?
Did it last night. We had a town hall meeting on the health care issue, and there was exchanges back and forth. The citizens were exchanging back and forth, and yeah, of course.
Well, it would seem to me that that's democracy in action.
That is, and look, I was a mayor when I was 27. If you can't take a little heat back and forth, then you really, maybe we ought to talk about these guys in Congress and have them sit in a city council meeting and have to listen to the public every week when they meet, rather than just come home once a year.
All right. We didn't get into this, and I want to get to town halls in just a second here, but we had the job issue come out today, and I noticed the National Review online. Now, in July, because they said, oh, the unemployment rate went down 0.1%. But in July, 796,000 of the jobs that were used in the month before were taken out of the Labor Department's definition of workforce. Are they cooking the books?
Well, I think by any reasonable person's perception is yes, they are. I mean, this is what the kind of Washington doublespeak where they do work the numbers to get the outcome they want. And that happens. That's one of the things that people really are fed up about Washington sending out cookbooks.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, the Atlantic and Politico reported when disconnected or discouraged workers are also included, the rate is really much higher at 10.2%, and it went up this month. Do you think that's a more accurate number?
I think that's somewhere where we're moving into, and I think the fact is that we need to start talking about the big picture, but taking, cherry picking the numbers you want and then ignoring the rest of the issues is something I think that people have been very upset with for a long time with Washington.
Look, we got retail sales down. There was an article that came out today by the year 2011 that half the American people, their mortgages are going to be underwater. 34 million Americans, the highest number ever, are now getting food stamps in this country. What is going on? Is this all a result of too many people thinking the government's going to take care of their every need in life?
Well, I think the real problem is the fact that we're going through a correction. It's going to be there. But I think it's also a lot of people thinking that Washington throwing money at the problem was going to save the day, and then seeing, wait a minute, it's not doing what it wants. And I think too often it's so easy for us in Washington to write checks with other people's money, but not reforms. And remember, we haven't even talked about one of the things that really got us in here, an accounting process called mark to market. Yeah. Remember, they said, let us spend the money and we'll get around to it eventually. We haven't even got around to it yet. And, and that's the kind of thing that people really want us to start talking about.
We keep hearing about patriotic duty, spread the wealth, skin in the game. The IRS numbers came out, and we found that top 1%, which represents 1.4 million Americans, they pay more than the bottom 95% of 135 million Americans. Let me restate this. 1.4 million Americans pay more in federal tax revenue than 135 million Americans. Is that socialism?
Oh, yeah. Look, this argument gets blown out when you look at the fact that in the last 30 years, the top 1% has doubled their percentage of taxes. So when someone says, oh, people aren't paying their fair share, the fact is historically the top line is paying more than it ever has. And I come from a blue-collar background. So what I worry about is we'll beat up on these people enough to where they won't be providing the jobs that my neighbors need to be able to get out of this. And that's what we got to look at. The jobs are what matters. Welfare benefits and all of this pain basically addressing the symptoms isn't. It's good employment, good economy that's going to attract this.
Revenues this year are down 18%. Since Barack Obama has been inaugurated as president, he has accumulated over $1 trillion in debt. Now he wants to add cap and tax and health care. Can America survive this? How bad is it?
I think that we ought to be scared to death about one big issue. It is costing us twice as much money now to borrow money from overseas than it did 3 months ago. We've actually doubled the rates we're paying because we are not only straining our grandchildren's future, we're straining the ability for the world market to keep up with our debt.
By the way, I love the shirt.
Thank
Congressman,
you.
It looks... Congressman Bilbray? All right. We are in San Diego to our Freedom Concert. Let not your heart be troubled. When we come back, the great American panel. Also, for the real story of the town hall events that are taking place around the country, be sure to visit FoxNation.com and stop by the Fox Nation store. See, I got this right here, Fox News Channel, and all the proceeds are donated to charity. Let not your heart be troubled. Our great American panel. Straight ahead.